Hello everybody, my name is Courtney and welcome to my channel, Courtney and Books. I'm doing something a little bit different today, which I feel like I've been saying a lot because I've been trying a lot of new things. I am on my webcam today, so I tried my very best to clean up the background of my office. It's usually a mess. It's a little bit less of a mess now because I just finished with a convention and I had to organize everything to put everything that was left over from the convention back in my office. I put clothes on my mannequin because I just feel like she's more decent that way, so I just put like one of my cloaks on her. I mean, I'm blocking a lot of the mess. I have my mold making stuff and my painting stacked back there, but I did my best to make my background as tolerable as possible. Let's get to it. So today I am doing something. Let me pull up the screen really fast. Okay, so I actually got this idea from another booktuber that I follow, and her channel will probably be linked below as long as I remember to do that after this or when I post this video. So I am doing a tier ranking for tropes or genres of romance today. I thought it was a really fun idea because I did skip a week because of the convention that I was at. I was at Game On Expo, which is a super fun convention here in Arizona. I got to be with that convention since the day it started. I love it a lot, but that is why I skipped a week, because I just couldn't find the time to record a video and edit it as well as get ready for the convention. So I also didn't get a lot of reading done this month, so we're gonna do this tier list because I thought it was a really cool idea and I'm actually really excited about it. I did make my own little tier of like photos or pictures, which I might just have available for download if anybody's interested in them to make their own tier list. I added some, I took some inspiration from other people's tier lists, and I guess I'm just gonna get into it. There's not much else to say about it besides the fact that I'm showing you guys what I like and what I don't like. So let's get started. I'm just gonna go in order so that you guys, because I know I'm blocking a couple of pictures. So we're just gonna go in order so that you guys can see every single one that I'm going through. And we're starting with Alien Heroes. I'm actually gonna, this one was hard for me because I used to be so into alien romance. I think that is one of the things that actually got me started in reading romance books was alien romance. I started with like Ruby Dixon, and I moved on to a lot of like Tana Stone, a lot of other authors out there that you've probably heard of if you read romance. And I got so into it, and I read it. I read so much of it. I read so many authors. I read so many books, and I loved it. But the problem that I have with alien romance, and the reason I am going to put it in the love it tier and not God tier, is because the theme of alien romance tends to get so repetitive. It's very difficult for me to find a book that is not about abduction because they don't have females on their planet, or fated mates, which are all great. I love them and I still read them, but it's hard for me to find books that I can set apart from other books, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna say love it. I think about a year ago I would have said God tier, but I actually have not been reading a lot of alien romance lately because it's very difficult to find something different. So that being said, if you guys have found books that are different, that don't follow the we have a shortage of females theme, please send them to me, because I really miss my alien romance. I have been not really finding ones that I can really get hooked on. It's just a little bit too repetitive for me. So yeah, if you guys have suggestions, put them down below, please. All right, so next is Forbidden Romance. Forbidden Romance, I love this. I don't know if it's in God tier yet, but I absolutely love Forbidden Romance. I just think there's so much tension. And I mean, that can fall under, you know, the taboo romance genre, and, you know, different social statuses, things like that. Like there's something so tense about that, and I just love it. I love it. It's not God tier, but I love it. I will read a Forbidden Romance any day. Age gap. Kind of the same thing. I actually really enjoy Age Gap, but I'm gonna have to put it in the like it tier because I have come across some age gap that just feels wrong to me. Not, I mean, obviously anybody can read whatever they want. I will never judge anybody for what they read, but I have read age gap where two people are really, really like each other, but they don't actually become physical until one of the younger of the two is of age. And I can handle that, but I have read other age gaps where it's just icky to me. Again, this is my own opinion. I'm not judging anybody for what they read, but you know, I draw a line, and so therefore it is a like it because I've come across a lot that I did not vibe with, but the ones that I do like, I really, really, really love. So they've become like some of my favorite books. All right, next is Amnesia. So I have actually written a book about amnesia. So there has to be some sort of a subconscious enjoyment that I get from amnesia stories. I have to admit, I haven't been a reader of too many amnesia books. And unfortunately, the ones that I did read, I didn't really care for. Might have just been the wrong author, the wrong story. I know that there was an alien romance book that I read that involved amnesia, and I just didn't like how the hero handled the heroine's amnesia. I didn't like that. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge, so I'm just gonna say because I don't know. The ones I have read are not great. The one I wrote, I think, was really good, but I am biased, obviously. It's gonna go in the Maybe there's books out there that I haven't read that involve amnesia that are really, really good, but I have not found them. So, next is Royalty. Again, I don't know. I haven't read a whole lot of royalty romance, and the ones that I have read also fall under the umbrella of like arranged marriage and things like that. I'm gonna say like it because all the books that I have read that involve royalty or are about royalty, I enjoyed. I didn't not enjoy them. I mean, like, I wouldn't put it in anything like, you know, God tier or love it because they didn't really stand out to me, but I did enjoy them. Small Town, I am going to say because all of the small town romances I have read were just a little bit too sweet. I need angst, I need drama, and I just feel like you don't really get that in small towns or small town romance. I've read even like paranormal romance that is in a small town or has that small town vibe, and it just didn't really do it for me. It was cute, but they don't stand out to me, so I would have to say Lust to Love, I'm gonna say love it because the experience that I've had with Lust to Love books has always been like, you know, characters setting ground rules, you know, about being physical and not being emotional. And then it always gets messed up and they always start loving each other. And I love that. It's so like there's banter and I just enjoy the tension. I like figuring, or I like finding out who falls first or who says something first, and it's just I like it. I love the drama of it, so I would absolutely say love it. Forced Proximity and One Bed. I'm gonna say like it. That's hard because I've read a lot that I don't like, and I've read a lot that I have liked, and I've read a lot that were I'm gonna switch to love it because the reason for that is because recently I've been reading a lot of like forced proximity books that have just been super, super memorable, and they've been dark romance, which is just a plus for me. So I'm gonna say love it because especially if it's two people that don't like each other that are forced to be in this situation together, I love that. So unequal social status. So this is a sort of, this falls under like taboo to me because it could be, you know, and it could also fall under royalty. It could be a lot of things. I enjoy it because I've read, I mean, all of the books that I've read, I like the challenges that the couple faces if they're unequal in their social status. As I like the obstacles that they have to overcome to be with each other. And it's almost like a, you know, Cinderella kind of thing. And a lot of Cinderella stories or Cinderella like stories I've really enjoyed. So I'm gonna say like it. Captor Captive. Now we're getting to where I want to be. So this is going in God tier because Captor Captive, 9 times out of 10 for me, for the books that I read, are under the dark romance umbrella. And dark romance is my vibe. I love dark romance. I enjoy it very, very much. All of the Captor Captive books that I have read have been about a kind of like fallen under the enemies to lovers or hate to love kind of category as well. So Captor Captive, absolutely. There's always that sense of not understanding each other and then coming to some sort of an understanding later in the book. And that is my cake. That is what I love. I love the drama between a captor and captive. I don't even know how to say it really, but there's always so much drama, and there is usually, not always, but there's usually a very dark element to it, which I absolutely love. Fated mates. So I used to love Fated Mates. In my early days, I loved Fated Mates. I thought that Fated Mates was a beautiful story of people that were just meant to be together. Fated Mates, to me personally, started feeling like a cop-out. Not all of them. A lot of them, you know, especially in situations where the fated mates reject each other and they don't want to be mates, but they know they're fated to be together. That's a little bit different. But most of the Fated Mates books that I've read just feel like it doesn't matter if the two characters like each other. It doesn't matter if they get to know each other. They're fated to be together, and that's it. I don't know. It takes away a lot of the development that I enjoy reading in books. So, it's hard. I'm gonna say like it because it can go either way for me. Next is language barrier. I'm gonna say because I tend to get annoyed when two characters can't communicate effectively, especially if they can't communicate through almost the entire book. I personally get annoyed and I get anxious for them for not knowing like what each other are saying. And I understand the appeal because in a lot of these situations, you know, the language barrier creates a need for them to get to know each other on a different level. I get it. I have read books that I liked with language barrier, but it's nothing that stands out to me. More than one partner. Avoid. I have been recommended so many books of like reverse harem or like things like that, and people are always like, oh, you're gonna love it. This is the one you're gonna love. I have never, ever, ever loved a book with people having more than one partner. I get jealous for them, I get anxious for them, I get stressed for them. I end up always having a favorite partner, and they never become exclusive with that partner, and it irks me as a reader, and I avoid them. I read a series last year that I thought I would love, and I got about halfway through the second book, and I just started getting so frustrated because in the back of my mind, I was like, she's gonna end up with my favorite because they have such good chemistry. But then she would end up having good chemistry with two other characters, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I don't like it. Fairy tale retellings, God tier. So I love fairy tale retellings. If they're done well. I haven't loved all of the fairy tale retellings that I have read, but the ones that I have read are some of my favorite books of all time. So that goes in God tier. I enjoy the twist that people put on them, especially if they make it sort of a darker twist. I really, really enjoy that. Again, I would have to say because a few of my books from last year were fairy tale retellings and they ended up on my top 10 of all time list. So it has to be God tier. I will read those all the time. I love them. Bully. This is hard. So I really want to put Bully in God tier because I greatly enjoy bully romance. But the fact that a lot of bully romance is set in high school, I actually don't like. So I will seek out college bully romance, but if it's in high school, I have DNF'd a lot of high school bully romance because I am 35, okay? And I do not want to be reading about 17-year-olds getting into these like insanely crazy bully sexual relationships. That's just me. If it's in college, it's fine. I can deal with that. And I love it. But so many of them are in high school. But as a 35-year-old, I don't want to be reading about that, okay? You go to college, get an education, then we'll talk. So I'm going to say love it. It's not God tier. I love it because the ones that I've read in college are amazing and I love them. I've been on so many bully romance kicks, but I just can't, like, it takes a bit for me to find one that I want to commit to because of the age and the stages that people are in their lives. When I read these, I'm picky. I'm very, very picky. Guardian. I'm gonna say like it because it's not something I'm well versed in. Guardian, I've read quite a few, but not as many as other genres or other tropes that are on here. I love the idea of somebody that is supposed to protect someone else and then falling in love with them, and then it kind of turns in, the ones I've read at least, kind of turn into a forbidden romance because they're supposed to be protecting said person and they start catching feelings, and I love that tension, and I love like how they get close and start to get to know each other. I love it. But I have not read that many. Holiday romance, avoid. So I did an experiment this past Christmas, and I read about 5 holiday romances. And I just wanted to, I never want to pass judgment on something that I have not dipped my toes into. So I read a few holiday romance books and I did not like it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I chose the wrong ones, but they were too safe for me. They were too safe. They were too predictable. They just were not worth my time. And I mean, yeah. Slow burn. Love it. If somebody writes it right, the tension between characters is absolutely enough for me to stay tuned, and I just love it so much. And it's not God tier because sometimes I do get frustrated and it'll take a very long time for me to, finish a book, but the slow burn, it can be very effective, and it just makes that moment so much more beautiful and so much more meaningful if it's done right. Again, Friends to Lovers. Friends to Lovers tends to be a little bit too sweet for my taste. And if you haven't caught on already, I lean more towards the darker stuff, more towards the dramatic. And Friends to Lovers tends to be too safe. Love triangle, avoid. This falls a little bit into the more than one partner scenario. I don't like somebody intruding on the romance space. It's stressful. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be disappointed when certain characters choose certain people. It's stress for no reason, in my opinion. I would rather see 2 people grow together than see them kind of torn between 2 people. Bad boy, good girl. Love it. I love it. I love a good corruption in a relationship. I love a bad boy bringing a good girl out of her shell, and I love a good girl kind of bringing a bad boy down to earth, There's not much else to say about that. I think that's a big trope. There's a lot of things that can fall into that trope, and I really, really enjoy it. Enemies to lovers, absolutely God tier. God tier. And I don't mean hate to love. There are so many books out there that say enemies to lovers, but they're not enemies to lovers. It's just, work enemies or, people that don't like each other. That, to me, is not enemies to lovers. Personally, enemies to lovers are two people that hate each other so much that they are trying to murder each other, that they are trying to ruin each other's lives, that they are trying, to just destroy the other person and then end up somehow finding a way to understand each other and finding a way to be together. That is my jam. I love it. I've mentioned a few enemies to lovers books on my channel before. I have a whole top 5 list somewhere, probably linked below or at the end of the video or something. But I just love enemies to lovers. I don't know why. I have written 4 enemies to lovers books, and I am in the process of writing another one that I hope will come out this Halloween. I just love it. I love the tension. I could gush about it all day. I love two people that just absolutely hate each other. And I love seeing them find a common ground and, growing together. I just love it. I love it so much. God tier, absolutely. Monster. I'm gonna say because there are a lot of books out there that I really, really, really enjoy. But I will say, again, I have to reiterate every time I talk about anything that I don't like, read whatever you want. My opinion does not matter to you if you like something that I don't like. Just, I respect you and what you read. But there have been a lot of monster romance books that I just found gross. And there are a lot that I found really great and written really well. But, there has to be a sense of humanity in a monster for me to enjoy it. And I think that a lot of monster romance, they don't have that. It's a little bit too far from humanity or too far from being human for me to view as a love interest. So it's a like it because I have found ones that I like. I can't say that I hate monster romance, and I do seek out some monster romance sometimes, but it's one of those genres that I'm very, very, very picky about. Fake dating. So I have found a lot of fake dating that I really, really enjoy. Again, it's not something that I seek out. Fake dating tends to a lot of the holiday romance books that I read had something to do with fake dating. Like, oh, my parents are going to judge me if I don't bring back somebody for the holidays. So they usually they hired somebody for the holidays. I enjoy those movies immensely, but I feel like reading a book of that genre has never really sparked anything in me. It hasn't really stood out to me, so it's a surprise baby, absolutely not. I have never found a surprise baby book that I enjoy. In fact, I don't typically like when people even get pregnant in books, unless it's the very end of the book and it's like a prologue type of thing, or not a prologue, an epilogue type of thing. I enjoy that. I've written that in my books, in fact. But I want the couple to be established. I think introducing a baby into the situation distracts from the couple, and I personally want to read about the couple and their relationship. I don't want to read about a child or some other outside force like a baby being introduced into the situation and distracting from, I just don't like it. Step family. Step family, it falls under the category of taboo. And so I'm going to say, as long as everybody is of age, I'm going to say love it. I actually really enjoy taboo romance, and step family is a big thing in taboo romance, and I love that. I don't know why. I can't even say why I love it so much, but I do. I love it so much. I love the hurdles that they have to get over to be together, and the social struggles that they go through to be together. I don't know why I enjoy it. I just do. Trauma. I'm gonna say like it. I almost put that in because I've had a lot of doozies with trauma, stories that involve trauma. Again, if it is written right, I won't say correctly because, you know, everybody writes trauma differently and you're totally entitled to that, but if it's written right, and what I mean by that is if it's written in a way that is believable, if it's written in a way that is relatable, I can get behind that 100%. And I love a good, like, healing story. I have read a lot of them. I won't seek them out. Again, like, I feel like a lot of the books that say that I put in like it or are books that I won't seek out, but I've had good experiences with them, good and bad experiences with them. So I think trauma goes under like it because it's not like I go and like try and find this genre or this trope, but books that have involved that in the past, I found a lot that I really, really liked. Grumpy Sunshine. That is a safe trope for me. And as you all know at this point, I'm not super into safe tropes. And Grumpy Sunshine just kind of feels like it falls under the safe trope umbrella. You know, it's just somebody that needs to be brought out of their shell. It's somebody who's super happy, is opposites attract, and that is a little bit too real for me to really get the fulfillment that I like to get out of books. And what I mean by that is if it's too real, if it's too close to home, then where is the suspension of where is my separation from reality, you know? Arranged marriage. God tier. I've read so many arranged marriage books that I have just absolutely loved. And I feel like, again, it goes under a lot of the different, like, umbrellas that I really enjoy, a lot of the genres that I really enjoy. And, you know, it could be enemies to lovers, two people that don't like each other, two people that don't know each other, two people that were stuck in a situation that they didn't want to be stuck in, but they're stuck in it together and they have to navigate it together. I love that. And I love the different levels of tension that authors put into that. It's God tier for me. That is my list. I think I'm going to put a link to a Google Drive file below if you guys want to download these pictures and do your own tier list. You're absolutely welcome to. And of course, add other ones. If there's other ones that I didn't put on here, it's probably because I don't read enough of those tropes to have a valid opinion about it. That is it for this video. Thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment if you have anything to say about these tropes or any tropes that I didn't include, or books that fall under any of these tropes that you think I might enjoy. I'm always up for suggestions. I am getting really close to 600 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and unlike everything else in my life that I think I have to do alone, I cannot do this by myself. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow me on my social media, and I will see you all in the next video. Happy reading until then. Bye!